Hi everybody, we are on our similar triangles review. This is the review before our tests, which we will hopefully be taking on Friday. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We skipped questions 1 and 2, which will take us straight to question number 3. So on this one it says scale factor. So scale factor is just they want to know how much this object from here to here shrunk or how much from here to here did it grow. And in the top it says of factor or figure A to figure B. So you know if I'm going from this to this, it's going to have to shrink, or our fraction has to be smaller than 1. And what we did on those is we wrote the word P right there for top and put a little box around that, and that let us know that we had to have one of those numbers on top in figure B. So it doesn't matter the 4 or the 20 or the 14 or the 20. I'm just going to pick the 20, and that's on the side here, and then we're going back to figure A, and the one on the side there is 36. And if I take that and simplify that, that goes 4 goes into that 5 times, 4 goes into that 9 times. So it shrunk by 5/9, almost a half. That's almost half the size of the other one. So that puts us at question number 4. Okay. Question 4 basically is the same thing, but we're working it backwards this way. It goes from B to A. So B to A, B's those numbers. Oh, yeah. So anyway, from B to A. So if I put that on top, figure A, I got to pick something. I'll just pick 12. Sorry, I'm going to pick, yeah, I'm going to pick 12. Then the one that matches that is 9. And when I simplify that, that gives me 4/3. Whoops. So that's my answer for that. Okay, we're on to question number 5. These are your proportions. So question 5, they basically want to know when you have two triangles and you have x's, we got to set up proportions. That's what a lot of these problems entail. So I just got to find something and match it. So the very first one I'm going to do is this bottom one, 4x minus 23. Let's set that equal to, remember you stay on that triangle, so we're going to stay over here, pick that value, and then I got to do my other fraction. Well, my other fraction, you got to figure out which one of these to put on top. Well, you have to match. So the first one was kj, which was k and j. That was this part right here. So I also have to use my first and last on the top of the other one, which is v and u, which is right here. So I got to put 2x plus 2 on top, which means by default 20 has to go on the bottom. So just remember, when you cross multiply those, you have to take, when I go this way, I have to take 20 and I have to multiply it by the 4 and the 23. So 20 times 4 is 80x. 20 times negative 23 is minus 460. 25 times 2x is 50x plus 50. Okay, so this problem you can do whatever you want to solve it. I always like to move the smaller x over to the bigger x, so I'm going to subtract 50x on both sides. And when I subtract 50x, I get 30x. Okay, now we're back to normal. I can add 460 to both sides. That gives me 5, 10. And when I divide by 30, it gives me 17. Okay. That was question number 5. On to number 6. 6 is the same concept, same type of problem, just more practice. Okay, so I'm just going to find something on this triangle right here. We'll call that, we'll do the 3x minus 1. And then I got to find something else on that triangle, so I picked 28. That's my only other option. Got to equal that to something on the other triangle. Whoops, put that there. So just to make sure, you would think it goes here, 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 but just to make sure, the very first, the top is NL. NL, so that means I got to do SL first, which is this. Over 24. So I got to cross multiply, just like we did in the last problem. When I cross multiply that, I get 72x minus 24 equals, when I cross multiply this, I get 28x plus 196. Okay. I'm going to move this x over here by subtracting 28x. Oops. By subtracting 28x. It gives me 44x minus 24. Then if I add my 24, it gives me 220. Divide by 44, and I get 5. So that's my value. Alrighty, that's pretty good. Going on to number 7. 7's the first problem on the back. Get that all set up for you. Okay, there we go. So number 7, we are basically doing the same thing. Some of you guys might just skip through this and just check your answer. But we just got to pick something on the first triangle. So I'm going to do x plus 11. That's right here. And that matches with 10 on that triangle. So I got to move to my next. So you got to say, well, x plus 11 was EF. So I got to do KL first. KL is 6x plus 3. Here's another thing you probably need to think about. If you cross multiply and you end up getting, like, there's x's on, when you cross multiply in both parts, you probably set it up wrong. Because that's a little bit higher math than what we're ready for. When I cross multiply these, I get 25x plus 275. Multiply those. 60x plus 30. I'm going to move this, the smaller x over here. Again, it doesn't matter how you do these. You can do them however you want. But when I do that, I get 35x plus 30 equals 275. So I got to subtract my 30. When I subtract my 30, I get 245 equals 35x. Divide by 35. And that gives me 7. Okay, well, that's not the answer on this one. Make sure you read the directions. It says find KL. KL is right here. So I got to take this and plug it in. So I got to do 6 times 7 plus 3. 6 times 7 is 42 plus 3 is 45. So KL, the length of KL is 45. Okay, we're ready for number 8. Move that. Okay, last problem like this. 8's very similar to 7. Got to set it up and then you got to plug it back in. This one is a little different, so I'm going to start here with 2x minus 1. I always like to put an x on top. And then the other one on this is 4x minus 26. So the question is, what goes on top, 38 or 60? Well, when I look the 2x minus 1 on top is SR. It's my last two letters, so I need QR. QR is 38. All right, now we're ready to cross multiply and do some math. So when I cross multiply this, I get 120x minus 60. And I have to cross multiply this. So I have to multiply everything by 38. And that gives me 152x minus 988. Oh, I'm running out of room there. Sorry. Minus 988. So I'm going to start by subtracting the smaller x. So I'm going to subtract 120x over here. And that's going to give me 32x minus 988 equals negative 60. So I need to add 988 to both sides. That gives me 928 equals 32x. When I divide by 32, x is 29. We're not done with the problem though. The problem says find SR. So I got to plug this back in. SR is right here. I got to plug it back in there. So 2 times 29 minus 1. 2 times 29 is 58. Minus 1 is 57. So SR equals 57. Okay, that was number 8. On to number 9. Number 9 looks like it could be confusing, but it really isn't. It's not one we've kind of talked about in class, but we can kind of look at it a little differently. Okay, so they want to know the perimeter of this shape right here, but we don't know it. There's no values there. I can't add anything up. But I could find the perimeter of this one. So we're going to add all those together, 13 plus 29 plus 22, and that gives me a perimeter of 64. Okay? And we know the scale factor from this to this is 4 to 3. So I know this is my bigger shape. I know this is my smaller shape because it's going from 4 to 3. The bigger numbers are over here, smaller numbers are over here. That's why it says this first and that second. So you can write that as a fraction, 4 over 3. Okay? It's a 4/3 ratio. So I can do a proportion on that. 4 represents this triangle over here. Well, 64 represents the perimeter of that triangle over there. I don't know the perimeter of this one, so that's going to be my x. And now we can cross multiply and divide. So let's do the easy part first. 4 times x is 4x. 64 times 3 is 192. If I divide by 4, that gives me 48. And that is the perimeter of this shape. Okay, that was number 9. On to number 10. These will go pretty fast, the next couple ones. So number 10 is, can you solve it by side, side, angle, side, all that jazz. When you go through these, maybe it would be good if you put off to the side the 3 options and just kind of cancel out things that you know can't happen. So when I look at this, there's side values on these sides, there's side values on these, but there's no side values here. So I know it cannot be side, side, side. Okay. There are some congruent angles in this problem, right here by vertical angles. Okay. But I can't mark these angles and I can't mark those angles. The only way I could is if they told me those lines were parallel, and they don't. So it cannot be angle, angle. That is out. So we know we have to prove it by side, angle, side, but we just got to figure out if it is similar or not. So what you want to do is you want to set these up. You want to take, remember, you find your smaller number over here, which is 15, and you match it with the smaller number over here, which is 21. That's these two. Okay. Then you take your bigger numbers. So this over this, 28 over 39.2. And you simplify those. And if they become the same fraction, they are similar triangles. Well, 3 goes into 15 5 times. 3 goes into that 21 7 times. If you put the other one in your calculator, it does simplify to 5/7. So are those fractions the same? Yes, they are similar by side, angle, side. And I got to follow the same order as PKM. PKM. So black line, green line, purple line. So I got to do black line, green line, purple line, which should be triangle LQM. Okay, we are on to number 11. And away we go. Okay, number 11 is a little different, but maybe again, you put these off to the side. And let's figure out what we can't use. Well, there are no sides on this triangle, none whatsoever. So I cannot do side, 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 and I cannot do side, angle, side. I'm going to have to do angle, angle. So I'm going to redraw these. I'm going to draw the green triangle here. So that's the little triangle. And let's just find those values first. So the bottom part is 47. This part's 38. If I add those and subtract from 180, I can do that. Or I can just start with 180, subtract these two numbers out, and that leaves me with 95. So that's my green triangle. Now I got to check out this red triangle, which is right here. I'm going to redraw it up here. It's not the best of triangles, but that's okay. The bottom part's 47. That part's 98. If I add those and subtract from 180, it gives me 35. So angle, angle means I have to have two angles that are the same. And when I look, those are the same, but I don't have any more that are the same. So these are not similar. And there's no possible answer for this one. Okay, on we go. Question number 12. Rolling right along. Okay, 12, same thing. 13, 14, 15, all the same type of question. So when I look at this, it might be helpful. Again, put your angle, angle, side, 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 angle, side. There's no angles marked in this. There's no vertical angles. There's no parallel lines. So that's out, and that's out. Means we got to do side, side, side. Okay? And this is all about matching. Remember, we take the smallest one, which is 8. I match it with the smallest number over here, which is 10. Let's simplify that. That simplifies to 4/5. Now we find our medium number, which is 9. I match it with 11.25. When I simplify that, I get 4/5. So we're moving along. Let's check this last one out. Now we got to do big with big. 12 over 15. That does simplify to 4/5. So they are similar by side, side, side. And then we gotta mark it the same. So RYN goes purple, red, green. So here I need to do purple, red, green, which would be RYN, purple, red, green. So over here I need to do purple, red, green, which should be ADE. Alrighty, that was 12. We're on to 13. Okay. go ahead and start making your things on the side there. Angle, angle, side, 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 angle, side. Okay. When I look at this, there's no numbers written on the sides of the triangle. None whatsoever. So I cannot use anything with an S in it. I have to use this one. I have to use angle, angle. And when I look at this, I do see those angles are the same. So that's 1A. I just need to find another A. Big hint here, parallel lines. When I have parallel lines, that means I have two transversals in this one, but I'm just going to pick one. I'm going to do this one right here. And when you look at those parallel lines, I have alternate interior angles right here and right here. So those two triangles are similar by angle, angle. And then we went PAS. So we went 2 to 1 to none. So I got to do 2 to 1 to none. So it'd be FAC. Okay, we're going to 14. Flying right through these. Okay. Again, I would do angle, angle, side, 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 angle, side. When you check it out, I see two sides written. One side, two sides. So we know angle, angle's out. There's not a third side marked, so side, side, side's out. So we're going to have to check it by side, angle, side. So let's check it out. Let's do small, which is 30, over small, which is 44. If I simplify those, I get 15 over 22. Now we need to do the diagonal, 32, over the diagonal, 48. If I simplify those, I'll get 2/3. Those values are not the same. So that is automatically telling me they are not similar at all. So this is a not similar. No answer. Okay. So we're on to 15. Okay. On this one, you got to do a little bit of work first. There's some pre-work. So let's go ahead and write angle, angle, side, 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 angle, side. Let's think about it. There's not 3 sides given. There's no sides given over here. So it cannot be side, side, side. I don't have any angles given except for this shared one right here. So there's no vertical angles, no parallel lines. Can't be that. So we're going to have to work with this. Hopefully that's going to be our answer. Again, it helps to redraw the triangles for me. I'm kind of visual. So I'm going to redraw this triangle. Not as good as there, but 32. This value right here, I'm not sure about. I can't get that one. I don't need it because I'm doing side, angle, side, because I know that angle is the same. So I got to figure this out. If the whole thing is 45 and this part's 9, we've talked about this many times. We subtract, and that gives me 36. So I'm going to redraw this triangle, this big one, and put its values in. Remember, they share this angle, so those angles are congruent. Those angles are the same. The length of this whole side is 32 plus 8, which would make that 40. And the length of this side is 45. So now I'm ready to set them up. Little over little, big over big. See if they simplify to the same thing. Little over little, 32 over 40. 32 over 40 simplifies to 4/5. 36 over 45 simplifies to 4/5. So they are similar. They're similar by side, angle, side. and then JKN. JKN. So I went this way, so I got to do RVN. And that was number 15. Number 16. Okay, this was the last thing we covered in class prior to the review. And this is just where you make your fractions. So I'm going to do x over 18. So I did this little part and that over that little part. But now I need this little part over that little part. So I know the other part's 21, but I got to figure out how much that part is. Well, again, if the whole line's 28 and that part's 21, if I subtract those, the little part, that'll give me that little part right there, which is 7. So we're going to cross multiply. 21 times x is 21x. 7 times 18 is 126. Divide by 21, and x gives me 6. And that was number 16. On to 17. Okay, this one's, we don't have to do any figuring. We just got to set the proportion up. So we're going to do this over this equals that over that. X plus 5 over 15 equals 5x plus 1 over 35. We got to cross multiply. I'm going to do this kind of fast because we've been doing these throughout this whole time. So that gives me 35x plus 175. I'm running off the screen here. And then 75x plus 15. If I simplify, I'm going to do 2 steps in one. If I subtract that, that gives me 40x. If I subtract that, that gives me 160. Divide by 40 on both sides, and x is 4. Okay, we are ready for 18. Okay, 18. We're doing the exact same thing here. This one's nice. There's not a whole lot of x's going on here. I do this over this equals that over that. So 40 over 32 equals x over 14. Cross multiply. Gives me 32x equals 560. Divide by 32. 17.5. So that was question 18. Here's 19. Same thing. 24 over x plus 6 equals 27 over 2x minus 2. Again, I'm going to do the math fast because if you've been watching this, we've done this many, many, many times. So get 27x plus 162 equals 48x minus 48. Again, I'm going to combine some steps here, but I'm going to subtract 27 to this side and add 48 to that side. And that gives me 21x equals 210. If I divide by 21, x is 10. So that's 19. On to 20. Last 2 problems. Awesome sauce. Here we go. Number 20. Now on these ones, they want to just know if they're parallel or not. So you just want to check your fractions, and if they're the same fraction, if they simplify to the same amount, then it's going to be parallel. So I'm going to do 6 over 15 and simplify that. I'm going to do this over this. Hopefully, it's equal to 10 over 36. If those are equal, then they're parallel. Well, when I simplify 6 over 15, that simplifies to 2 over 5. That's an arrow. When I simplify this one, okay, it gives me 5 over 18. Those two values right there are not the same. So it is not. Those are not parallel. That doesn't say not 11, it says not parallel. And we're down to 21. It's our last problem, finally. Okay. Same concept. We just got to find these out and see if they're the same. But again, I need to know this. I can do this over this. 28 over 16.1. Is that equal to, so I did that over that. I need to find a value right here, which I don't know, over 20.7. So to get that, I've got the whole line. If I subtract out 28, whatever is left is that value. So 64 minus 28 is 36. So that's 36. Okay. I don't have my scientific calculator with me, but I do know when you simplify these, when you simplify 28 over 16.1 and this over that, you get the same exact fraction. So they do end up being equal, but I don't have that with me. So yes, they are parallel. Okay, that's the review. I did it under 35 minutes. That was my goal. Hopefully you do well. I think our test will be Wednesday if everything works out right. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you in school on Tuesday. Enjoy your Monday off. See you later.